Hello and welcome back to the William Gomes podcast. I am William Gomes and I'm grateful to have you here. This series is called Reading Seminar 1 and 2, Lacan's Return to Freud Revisited. In the previous episode, we examined repetition, automatism, and structure. We saw why Jacques Lacan insists that repetition is not a habit to be corrected, nor a failure of insight, but an effect of structure that exceeds the ego's intentions. In this episode, we take the next decisive step. If repetition is structured, then we must ask, structured by what? Lacan's answer introduces one of the most important coordinates of his teaching, the symbolic order. The symbolic is often misunderstood as a realm of abstracted ideas, social conventions, or shared meanings. Lacan's use of the term is more precise and more radical. The symbolic refers to a system of relations that precedes the individual and organizes subjectivity from the outset. It is not created by the subject is inserted into it. To grasp this, we need to recall a basic insight already present in Sigmund Freud's work. Freud showed that psychic life is not governed by conscious intention. Desire, repetition, and conflict follow paths that the subject does not choose. Lacan asks how such paths are organized. His answer is that they are organized symbolically. The symbolic is the register of law, prohibition, differentiation, and position. It is not primarily about meaning. It is about structure. To say that the symbolic precedes the subject is to say that the subject does not first exist and then learn language. Rather, language provides the coordinates through which the subject comes into being. This is why Lacan insists that the subject is an effect of language. The symbolic order introduces distinctions that make subjectivity possible. It establishes differences, positions, and relations that are not reducible to images or emotions. This allows us to distinguish the symbolic from the imaginary, which we explored earlier. The imaginary organizes experience through images of wholeness, similarity, and rivalry. It answers the question, who am I like? The symbolic, by contrast, organizes experience through positions and relations. It answers the question, where am I placed? This distinction is crucial. In the imaginary, the ego seeks coherence and recognition. In the symbolic, the subject is defined by relations that are not chosen and cannot be mastered. This is why Lacan insists that meaning is secondary. Meaning is produced within the symbolic, but it is not what structures it. The symbolic is first a network of differences. Meaning emerges from those differences, but it does not govern them. This insight helps us understand why repetition persists. Repetition does not occur because the subject fails to understand themselves. It occurs because the subject is caught in symbolic sequences that organize their speech and desire. Certain signifiers return. Certain positions are repeated. Certain impasses recur. Thus, repetitions are not images replayed in the mind. They are effects of symbolic placement. This also clarifies why psychoanalysis cannot be reduced to self-reflection. Self-reflection operates at the level of the ego and the imaginary. It attempts to make sense of experience by constructing narratives. But symbolic structure does not yield to narrative coherence. It persists even when narratives change. This is why Lacan insists that analytic listening must attend to structure rather than meaning. The analyst listens for how speech is positioned, not simply for what it says. They attend to how Certain terms recur, how demands are formulated, and how positions are assumed or avoided. This focus on the symbolic also transforms our understanding of law and prohibition. In everyday terms, law is often understood as an external constraint imposed on the individual. In Lacan's framework, law is constitutive. The symbolic introduces limits that make desire possible. Without prohibition, there would be no differentiation, and without differentiation, no subject. This does not mean that the symbolic is harmonious or benevolent. It means that it structures subjectivity at a level deeper than intention or identification. Understanding the emergence of the symbolic order also clarifies Lacan's critique of ego psychology. Ego psychology treats the subject as an individual who must adapt to reality. It locates conflict within the person. Lacan's approach relocates conflict within a structure. The subject is not maladjusted because they fail to adapt. They are divided because they are symbolically constituted. This division is not pathological, it is structural. This is why psychoanalysis cannot aim at resolving division. It can only allow the subject to encounter how that division is organized. The symbolic order, therefore, provides a crucial theoretical bridge between seminars 1 and 2. Seminar I shows why analytic technique must be oriented towards speech rather than behavior. Seminar 2 shows why the ego cannot serve as the foundation of analysis. The symbolic explains why both claims are necessary. Speech is not merely expressive, it is structured symbolically. The ego is not the subject because the subject is an effect of symbolic relations rather than an image of coherence. This also prepares us for the next step. If the symbolic structures subjectivity, then we must examine how the ego responds to this structure. Does the ego facilitate access to the symbolic or does it resist it? In the next episode, we will examine the ego explicitly as a form of resistance. We will see why Lacan insists that ego strength can block analytic work and why reinforcing the ego often closes access to the unconscious. Thank you for listening. This is the William Gomes podcast. Take care of yourself, stay curious, and if you found this episode helpful, you're very welcome to follow, share, leave a comment, or a rating. I'll speak with you again soon.